So these things that happen in residential schools are often passed down, and whether it's like loss of language, or whether it's abuse, or whether it's trauma that leads to substance abuse, to numb out pain. What you're seeing right now in a lot of these communities, is this very difficult process of trying to like take back what was stolen. What you're seeing right now in Canada is that you're seeing this like kind of realization that we never had before. Where because of unfortunately, what it's taken is the discovery of all these children, to make Canadians realize just how bad it was, or to realize at all that this system, was what it was. I think that was something that I think a lot of Canadians still weren't aware of. And I think one of the things that we have to do is to get over some of the shock of it, because I think it prevents us from taking meaningful action in a way. Like, I think that we need to get over the shock of the truths that are being uncovered, because there are things that Indigenous people have been talking about for a long time. I remember that my father used to, whenever my mother and my father used to drive by Brandon, for example, he always used to tell my mother that there were children buried under a campground in Brandon, and that was like almost 30 years ago. So, I think that these are things that it's almost a way that we need to honor these children, by learning as much as we can about the history, in the right ways, so that we can understand the actions that we need to take to truly work towards reconciliation. Because I don't think it was really something that we were doing, we were trying to do, but I don't think we really doing all that was needed to do, because we didn't understand everything that had happened. I think that knowing and having the opportunity to know the truth allows us to understand what actions we need to take in order to collectively heal as a country. So no matter who you are, I think that you have a role in what that healing looks like, what that reconciliation looks like. And I think that one of the things that we often do is we leave it to the Indigenous people to educate us, which is fine. I mean, that's something that we should be doing, because it's a truth that we need to share. But at some point, that needs to be a shared responsibility, and we can only do that if we we really understand and listen to these stories, so that we know the truth, so that we can share that truth with others, and not leave that burden on the shoulders of Indigenous people alone. And so as kids, one of the most important things that you can do is to just read and learn, as much as you can right now, so that you can be truth tellers, and you can share what you've learned with others. And I've heard many stories of children who have educated their parents and adults about stuff that they've learned that their parents have never been exposed to, that they've never learned before. And so I always tell kids that you are not only the leaders of tomorrow, but you're also teachers today, because of the things that you're learning, and the fact that we never learned these things before. And I think it's this really hopeful thing that that you are being exposed to these truths and these stories at an age that we could never have dreamed of been exposed to them in the 80s and the 90s, the adults today. And so in that way, I feel like it's a more hopeful time than even in a time of, where all these tragedies are happening, because we keep discovering, all these children. The best way to honor these children is to take advantage of the opportunity that we've been presented, or that we've even been forced into because of these truths that we aren't able to ignore anymore, and to find ways that we can move forward together. Because whether you believe it or not, or have recognized it or not, everybody's been affected by that history. It's not just been Indigenous people. Now, of course, that we've been affected by it more directly. But if you are a Canadian and you understand that this is a part of Canadian history and it's helped shape what this country is, then you also have to acknowledge the fact that in some way it's affected you. And, in some way, everybody needs to go through some type of healing journey because of it.